So that's all I can say. Watch Midnight Texas to find out what that means.
All right, now you go on, I'm sorry.
I'm also trying to save the world.
Have you got a boomstick?
No, I'm gonna find one though. I'm play Carl O'Brien on the new show Night Flyers, and I'm an astrophysicist who discovers that there may be aliens like way out of the way and decides it's a good idea to go and try and meet them and save the world.
Mr. Ellis.
So I play Lucifer Morningstar in a show called Lucifer. Don't really care about the world, to be honest. Just care about myself, to be honest. Yeah, that's pretty much it. He's badass because he's the devil.
Okay, Benedict, how about you?
Hello there. I'm playing Master Lin. Thank you. Cheers. He's the head of a private academy called King's Dominion, where he teaches his students the deadly arts.
Nice. Do you save the world?
Do I save the world? Well, yeah, in the sort of small sort of chess moves.
Indirect.
All right, Jay, you next.
Yeah, I play Magnum PI, and I've always been a person of low aspirations, so I save, housewives, fish, trash that may be floating into the ocean, random things like that. That's about it.
But you do it all in a really sexy Ferrari.
It's not a bad car, It's not a bad car.
Stephen.
I play a character called Reed Strucker in a show called The Gifted. That's me with my peck enhancements.
And that Wonder Bra's working magic.
I know, it's wonderful.
And technically he's wearing blue steel, I think.
Yes, exactly. Lips pursed, tits hard. I'm anyone's. I play the father of two normal kids who turn out to be gifted in an X-Men universe, and I am also a prosecutor of mutants. And then when I found out that my kids have the X gene, I have to make the decision to either prosecute them or go on the run. Family goes on the run. And it's about us then meeting the rest of the mutant world and mutant underground.
Okay, now we're going to get to the part that we call Answer for That. I asked our photo editor to go on a bit of an archaeological dig into their careers.
Oh my God.
We discovered some truly fascinating moments.
I was very young.
Yeah, so we're going to share some of the images on screen in hopes that, you can answer for them. Stephen is first.
Stephen, you still have that scarf, right?
Yes, it was after you bit me that I had to wear it.
It's technically a repurposed loincloth.
Yeah, you start first, because I believe that's you, right?
What do I have to say?
You have to say, where the hell is that from?
Oh. This was a 1942, the Polish uprising in Warsaw, and that's in the Warsaw Ghetto, and I was playing a Holocaust survivor called Kazik, a real-life gentleman called Sinkar Rotem, who became a very dear friend of mine, and I've actually got that exact picture with him standing next to me. He's now 90 and he's still a very dear friend of mine.
Is that the same face you have on The Gifted, though?
Yes, it is. There's just the one. But as you can see, I'm like, it's a bit cold, I'm a bit worried, it's winter, I'm storing some nuts in my pants cheeks there. Just in case I get hungry.
I think he looks quite handsome. All right, next up, next is Owen. Slide on Owen. Now, Owen.
I'd like you to reenact that, please.
I think that thing explains itself.
The elbows, too.
Was that this is like a crossover of Scrubs and Sons of Anarchy?
Scrubs. Yeah, I think he's late for his script meeting.
That was because we had a motorbike and no one knew what to do with it. So it was like, and also because we were all really hungover because we had a wrap party for the pilot the day before. So the photographer was like, you know what would be great if you're all like, you know, running after a motorbike in a corridor for no fucking reason. And we were like, yeah, cool, that sounds cool. Then we go home and took that.
That was the press photo. All right.
Mine's the press photo.
All right, Santiago, you next. Those are some delightful yellow hats.
Yeah, that was actually a play. That was I'm Romeo there, and the other was Will Kemp playing Mercutio, and we're about to play the Wimbledon final. Yeah, no, we were. It was a modern dressing of Romeo and Juliet, but the idea was that the silhouettes kind of were of the day, and like the shadows would kind of give the perspective of the costume. So it was a good picture.
What it is. All right, next up, Dylan. Now, Dylan, are you assuming that phone is loaded? What is that?
I guess when 24 was really popular, Verizon decided to do 24 one-minute episode spin-offs, and I was 23, and I played like a 23-year-old Jack Bauer for Verizon, and yeah, that phone is, we're actually in front of the real-life MI6 there. We were in London there, which is kind of funny, but it's probably the worst 24 minutes of your life, so go experience that online if it still
He's got full credit, and he's
full credit. I have shiny black pointy shoes, so watch out.
It looks like you're challenging someone to leave you a voicemail.
I know. Dare you to call me? Don't you dare! You better send a text.
It looks like actually you're about to play baseball. They've just put a camera in your hand.
That's awful. Get that off the screen immediately.
Okay, Tom. Next is Tom.
Is that a Mensa?
If you're referring to me, yes. That is from season 1 of Lucifer, I believe.
Is it?
We found ourselves in a pawn shop, spelled P-A-W-N. And that's me playing with my joystick.
It's a nice picture. It's really nice.
That's about it.
Nice balls.
Yeah.
Not as big as the other one.
All right, Jay.
Oh, Jay.
Jay. Oh, Jay.
This was 2 Saturdays ago. And I have to say, he was a gentle lover.
Doesn't look gentle.
Safe word. No, this is from Hostel.
How was it doing that scene?
Gag-inducing. It was actually, it was pretty horrific. I was tied to this steel chair. This guy was genuinely creepy. I remember at the rap party, he came up to me and awkwardly asked me what I wanted to drink, and I'm like, the last thing I want to do is take a drink from you. Yeah.
Has he always got a blurry face?
Yeah, it's strange
Like a photo of it on a clone.
You can't quite make him out.
Man, well, I mean, it was the movie was executive produced by Quentin Tarantino, so it was kind of like a little homage to The Gimp.
Was the ball clean?
And did you take it home?
It wasn't afterwards, I'd say that.
Right. Okay, Benedict. Now, is this from a movie or a Lost Weekend?
Oh my goodness.
Do you remember this dude?
Glastonbury.
Wow.
That's a killer cast.
Wow. I say.
Yeah.
This is one of the times that you're glad that the camera had 7 pounds. This is a film called On a Clear Day, and Peter Mullen, incredible actor there, is learning to swim the channel, and we're all diving into Loch Lomond.
Oh, geez.
And it's very, very cold there. And
Your dog doesn't look cold, though.
there was a before and after shot, so
I I think the local badminton team want their shuttlecocks back.
I've got a sponsorship deal with them.
Nice legs. All right, thank you. It's the end of the visual. Thank you. All right, so Hollywood is predictable, if not downright lazy, when it comes to creating heroes. So I want to see if any of you have fallen victim to some of these tiresome tropes. Please just raise your hand if you've been in any of these situations in TV or film. 1, saving the world while wearing a grimy, bicep-bearing tank top. Okay. Firing off a crisp one-liner in the middle of an intense fight/explosion destruction scene. Okay. All right, there you go. This one drives me crazy. Refusing medical attention even though you're gravely injured. Okay, you're mano-a-mano against a villain twice your size, but despite a series of near-fatal blows, you experience an extraordinary burst of strength and valiantly finish him off.
Define finish him off, sorry. Actually, it's the same, but...
And finally, cradling a child in your beefy arms and saying, "You're safe now, Johnny." All right, looks like you've been there. Okay, now we know it takes a lot of dedication and hard work to become a warrior. Nobody exits their mama's womb and acting like Bruce Willis and Die Hard. So let's travel back to your complicated youth. If you had to write your very own Diary of a Wimpy Kid, what would one of your early entries read like? Let me start with you, Stephen.
I'm so old, I remember when Bruce Willis had hair. He did. Honestly, he did.
I think you're being a little generous there, Stephen. You're talking about moonlighting?
Well,
No, he didn't really.
there was some hair there. Bruce,
Bruce, if you're here, I'm sorry.
Okay,
What kind of kid?
so Diary of a Wimpy Kid. It's 1977, and it's October, so. For my 7th birthday, Mummy and Daddy took me to see a new film called Star Wars. I think it might be quite good. Ever since I got home, I have been constructing a lightsaber from toilet rolls. I don't know why it saves light. It should have been called a light sword. My dog, Robbie, who's dead. My dog, Robbie, is dressed as Chewbacca, and after dinner, we're going to save the world.
All right, who wants to follow that? How about you, Santiago?
I'm happy to follow that. I remember, is this in relation to just being terrified? I was terrified as a kid. I was very shy.
Yeah, what kind
So I had a lot of, and I was moved around a lot. We lived in many different countries. And when we arrived in Toronto, I think it was like 3 or 4, I didn't speak any English. So I refused to talk and just barked like a dog for about a week. Literally on all 4 legs. But so goes the story that my mother told me that at least I had kids in the neighborhood on all 4s, older kids, and we were all walking around down the street around the block. But yeah, does that qualify?
Yeah, that's what it does. That really does. How about you, Tom?
Gosh, I think when I was about 8 years old, I watched a film I shouldn't have watched with my friend Wesley Corbett from down the road, who was allowed to watch films that he wasn't allowed to watch, called Nightmare on Elm Street. Jeez, that was heavy going. I thought I was cool with it until I was in bed one night and I couldn't stop thinking about Freddy Krueger. And then I heard this horrific noise, and I looked at my window, and the condensation on my window had sort of formed this ghostly face. And I sort of hid under my covers for a bit, and then the noise happened again, and I ran out of my room, and I ran into my mum and dad's room, and I was like, "I'm really sorry, I watched the film, I shouldn't have watched it. It was called Nightmare on Elm Street, it was a Whole thing. Anyway, the next day, as my adult life progressed, I realised that horrific noise that I heard that coincided with the condensation on my window was foxes having sex.
That was very nice.
Which happens quite a lot in London, especially.
Yeah.
And it's quite horrific.
That is a very scary noise.
It really is.
Wow. All right, Owen, how about you?
I learned when I was 16 that if you bleach your hair blonde and put it in spikes, you will not get laid. So I was there was this girl I really liked, and I went to an all-boys school when I was 12, which sucked, and so like, you met girls when, you didn't. And there was one girl who was sort of on the street, kind of near to me, and she knew from friends of mine, and we were going to go to a nightclub at like Christmas. In Ireland you could get away with going to a nightclub when you're 16 because we all had fake IDs and we cut ourselves with scissors. And we stuck it together with super glue, and you got allowed in because you made an effort. Seriously. And so I was like, God, I really like this girl, I gotta be cool. So I went down to the hairdressers, and everybody had like highlights, all that blonde highlight in there. And the hairdresser was like, it'd be really cool if you were like totally blonde. And she would love that. And I was like, oh, okay. So I went totally blonde, I looked like a vanilla ice cream, and the whole thing with like all spiky hair, and I get in there and I was like in the nightclub, and I just reflected the light off everybody. So that didn't work for like, I tried to wear a hat, basically, and then.
All right, Jay, you next.
Oh, me, yeah. I'm kind of at a loss here because it was so cool when I was a kid. No, I was a bit of a weirdo and a loner, and to be honest, I mean, this is not cool or funny, but like my best friend at the time was my dog, which was kind of sad, and kind of amazing at the same time. That's my entry.
Did you walk around doggy style as well?
Those weren't foxes, buddy.
I think I was about, maybe about 10, 11. And on Sundays I'd have to go to the Chinese school, but I traded with my mum that day, because no one wants to go to school on Sunday as well, you want a break, don't you, on the weekend. I traded for Kung Fu school. So I don't know if you're familiar with like lion dancing. There's someone has a huge paper mache lion face, and someone's moving all the kind of the strings and the pulleys. And I was the back of the lion's tail, thinking, oh yeah, I'm part of the Kung Fu school. But when it fell on Chinese New Year, there was about 20 restaurants in Chinatown, and everybody does the blessing. So basically, you're like the back of a pantomime cow, going from one restaurant to the other, and I just had an incredible backache at a very early age.
The ass end is the most delicious part of that beef though.
All right, Dylan, you last.
Oh, well, the year was 1986, and a little show called Family Ties was on the air, and I developed some weird obsession with Mike Fox, Michael J. Fox, you might know him as at the time, and I made my mom buy me a briefcase. I got the Michael J. Fox bowl cut kind of thing. I wore a sweater with like a white shirt under, and I was like asking my dad, what's the stock market today, Dad? That's the worst Michael J. Fox impression I've ever heard. He's like, I don't know, son, I work in a paper mill. Go to kindergarten. So that was it, and then Back to the Future came out, and my head exploded. So yeah, that was my obsession back then.
You still have the briefcase though, right?
I do, I actually have it backstage.
What was the last brave thing that you did? How about you, Stephen?
Yeah, twins are pretty brave.
That's a good one.
The last brave thing.
I mean, I'm proud of you for being here.
Yeah, I'm old enough to be these guys' dads, so I feel pretty brave for coming on the panel with these boys. I can't think.
In so many, Stephen.
There's so many things. Come back to me, I'll have a think.
How about you, Jen?
The last brave thing, jeez. I could tell a really cute one or a really ridiculous one. What do you want?
What do you think?
What about brave and cute?
Ridiculous. I was literally in the parking lot of a Home Depot like 3 months ago, and I stopped a fight between two dudes, like who jumped out of their 4x4s, and they were like 60, like, you know. If you catch a punch to the face, you can literally die at 60. So I was like, come on, guys, knock it off. And it was so funny to me and awkward, but I was literally like laughing as I was trying to get them to stop punching each other. And it was a fight in slow motion. Like they were like, you know, winging punches. And I felt like I was like the Flash or something. Everything was very slow, and I was like, this is how it feels. This is amazing.
That's a good one.
Needless to say, they were okay. I saved the day.
Yes.
Picked up their walkers and moved on. Walked to the sunset. Beautiful.
That was actually Stephen, though, right?
And he looks great, by the way. Thanks, Jay.
Ben, what about you?
I've already done one. Have I done this in this, but... no, can I get...
You want to push it to the devil? Go.
Don't build it up like that. The last brave thing I did was take blood without passing out. I mean, my whole life I have been terrible with injections. I just see it and I go. But I've got better. And I had a cup of sugary tea before I went in. And I didn't pass out. So I thought I was very brave. I've got a sticker at the bottom.
You got it? Okay, go.
So, I recently had dental surgery with some bone implants, and I didn't quite realise they needed to stitch the inside of my mouth as well. And that's pretty brave, isn't it? And then I had to go and film the next day, so you'll see a bit of that slight sort of characterisation like this.
Like a Don Corleone.
I like it. Owen, what do you think?
I jaywalked on the way here. Dude, cars are dangerous, man, right? You're gonna cross the street and
He
think...
walks from Petco and it's very dangerous. Yeah.
Very dangerous, right?
That's you.
Every day I jaywalk, I'm like, wow.
Okay.
Sociopath.
Dylan.
I have a 23-month-old son, so I think the last brave thing I did is when my wife was in labor, I asked her how she was doing. And Tom plays the devil on TV, but I swear I saw the devil, and she said, "How do you think I'm doing?" And I was like, oh my God. What did I get myself into? But it all ended up perfectly. We have a beautiful boy now, and she's lovely. So, I love you. I love you, honey, wherever you are.
You got something?
I went recently. I was in the ocean. There was like a 12-year-old boy. He was probably like 20 yards away, going "Help! Help!" on like a surfboard. And I was like, "He's right there. I'll just go help him." And of course, as I'm walking along, the current suddenly changes, and suddenly I realise my feet don't hit the ground anymore. And we've gone way in. And he's a big 12-year-old. He's not just like a Tom. So he's panicking. He's going, "Oh, I don't want to die. I don't want to die." You're not going to die. Just calm down. I'm just trying to hold him up. As this is going along, suddenly I see finally the lifeguards are coming in. They throw a rope into the water. And I feel like I'm going to drown myself. I think this is so stupid. There's a reason why there's lifeguards and we're not supposed. So anyway, as soon as the lifeguard arrives, I just feel that rope and I go, "You got him? You got him?" I just went right out. Anyway, kid was all right.
All right, playing Warriors, I would hope, comes with a lot of perks. So I was wondering, when was the last time you played your star card to get what you want?
I do that every day at lunch. You know, you get to the front of the queue when you're, there's a big queue always up in the lunch truck on a set, and that's a perk. I use it. A lot of people don't want to take, "Oh, it's fine, it's fine." I go, "Yeah, no, it's fine, okay." I'll eat my lunch first, I'm happy to.
Anyone else want to talk to it?
The last thing you ever want to do is call up to get a table somewhere where you know it's fully booked. You end up kind of calling up and going, "Yeah, like, table please," and they say, "No, we're fully booked, sorry, you can't come in." "Yeah, well, my name's
my name's Stephen Moyas. And they go, who? And you go, I played a vampire in True Blood on HBO. I haven't got HBO. I'm in a show right now called The Gifted on Fox. Was that film with Chris Evans? That's a great film. No, it's not that film. I'm married to somebody quite famous who played Rogue in X-Men. I hate the X-Men film. Sorry, thanks very much. So you absolutely have to not do it because it's just unbearable. And then the time that it does work is when you don't want it to work, which is when you're in CVS, standing there with like hemorrhoid cream or condoms, and you start having to sort of use your phone to cover the thing, and they think you're shoplifting, and it's awful. It's never good.
That's a good spring place. Have you been in a situation where you didn't want it to work, but oh gosh, they recognized you? Says?
I was once on a flight back to the UK, and the guy. So I was in coach, but there was a row of seats at the back, and the guy, one of the air stewards, he recognised me from a show I did called Miranda, and he was very excited about it. Thanks, man. And basically, he said, so I said, is there any way we can get that back row? And he was like, once the flight's taken off, it's yours. I was like, that's fantastic. So the flight takes off, the seatbelt sign goes off, and all of a sudden I turn around to go to the seat, and this older guy, probably in his 60s, gets up out of his seat and goes and sits in the back row. And I sort of look, and I go, and I make eye contact with the guy that made the promise, and he goes, I've got it. So he goes to the back, and he has a conversation with this guy, and the guy gets up and gets out of the seat, quite begrudgingly, and the guy comes back and goes, okay, I've sorted it. I've just told him that your mum's dying, and you want to... What? So we'd come up with this whole story about my mum dying in order to get me the seat at the back of the flight, which I did, and I had to look. He said, as long as you look upset, it'll be fine.
So it worked.
So to hide my glee about getting this seat. Anyway,
You really are the devil. That poor guy.
I know. Anyway.
But it did work.
It worked. I got the seat.
Ironically, the other guy's mother actually did die.
Dylan, do you have a story?
Kind of, but it was kind of an awesome story where I was at a wedding, and it was one of those uppity weddings where like they paid $100,000, and everybody was standing in a circle by a bar, and they were talking about, well, what do you do? And one guy was like, I'm a doctor, I run a hedge fund in Germany, and I'm a lawyer, and they came to me, I'm like, I'm an actor. I'm like, oh, that's cute. And I'm like, no, I'm on a show called Orphan Black, it just came out, the first couple episodes are amazing. And then they turn away, and literally on cue, a group of folks came over to me, and they go, tap me on the shoulder, and everybody's kind of looking at me that just kind of shun me, and they said, has anybody ever told you you look like Dylan Bruce? And I looked at them and I go, that's because I am Dylan Bruce. All these like uppity folks saw that, and they started looking at me, and they're like, yeah, I want to be that guy's friend. But I didn't let them be my friend. Them. We're artists. It's hard to get to where we are. So yeah, redemption is amazing.
Benedict, did you ever use your star code?
I don't know if I've got any, to be honest, so I just tend to edge my bets by saying, do you know who I think I am? And then, you know, so what's a win-win, really?
Yeah, no, you know, about 2 or 3 years ago, me and a couple of my friends might end up hanging out with Emilio Estevez, and he was super cool. And we're down in Venice Beach in LA, and I was like, we gotta go to this nightclub. And he was like, no, I don't want to go. I was like, no, I just want to go dancing with Emilio Estevez because he was super cool. So I think it's okay. I don't know the bouncers, but I'm sure it's totally fine because we'll get there. And I got there, and you know, it was a group of people, and I was like, I got this. And I walk up to the bouncer, the same thing you had. And I was like, you know, can we get in? And they're like, no. No, you can't. And I was like, you know, I'm on this show, you know, and again, I was just saying, they're like, I don't give a shit. And Emilio was there, and he's like, you know, dude, what's the story? And I was like, went back, and I was like, so you have to get us in. Can you do that? And then I'd like push him up, and then they're like, oh, it's Emilio. And then they're like, you know, they look at me, and they let him in, they let everyone else in, and at the end, they kind of let me in. I was Emilio's friend that night.
All right, so women are always asked what male role they'd like to play, so I'm going to turn it on you. What strong female character on TV would you like to play? Who wants to jump in?
Pamela Anderson in Barbed Wire. That's still a thing? Stephen, you remember that one, right?
That's a film, yeah, okay. We can start there. How about you, Jay?
Me?
Yeah.
Wonder Woman.
That's right.
It's a badass, right? In the universe. What's up?
There she is!
There she is! There she is! She's sitting right here in the front. This is amazing.
Does it have to be TV or can it be
TV or film?
Oh, it would be Elizabeth Shue in Back to the Future, so, you know. me and Mikey Fox can
know
get
why.
that romance. I'm getting close thinking about it right now.
Somebody bring a towel.
Oh, she's asleep the whole movie, isn't she?
I'd like to play Jane, DCI Jane Tennyson in Prime Suspects.
Very
Nice.
I'm going to be sort of slightly odd. I'm absolutely obsessed with Handmaid's Tale. I think that's
Yeah, that's weird.
I like the movie, but I think she's amazing. Lizzie Moss, and also, if anybody has anybody started watching Sharp Objects?
Yeah.
Oh my God, she's amazing. And so I'm just in awe of Amy Adams and Elizabeth. So that's what I go for.
Bravo.
Santiago?
Just when you said that about Sharp Objects, it reminded me I got to play with some wonderful ladies on Big Little Lies and all those great characters. Those were, you know, they such strong women and, you know, role models. So yeah, definitely those.
Tom, did you have one or?
Gosh. I don't know. It would be quite fun to do role reversal on Miranda and play Miranda. Just for a laugh.
It's time.
But apart from that, I think of the best female performance I've seen in the last few years on anything was Sarah Lancashire in Happy Valley.
Absolutely.
That's what he
Which is not that well known.
On Netflix,
It's
by the way.
one of the most
Netflix, and it's amazing.
It's on Netflix. My new boss. Great. Advertise that. It is phenomenal acting.
All right, so
Right.
let's talk a little shop. I'm just curious, what is the most insulting thing a director or an executive ever said to you?
Change your voice. I don't know how you do that, but...
Hey, can you be good in this next take?
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, change your voice? Let's go back to that. Those were the words?
Yeah, change your voice. I guess I was too Batman-y. I don't know. I wasn't trying to be. I just was raspy that day. What can a guy do? He only drinks so much tea, right? English guys up here tell me, like, does tea make your voice go high?
Santiago?
I remember one of my first sort of big Hollywood jobs. I was, you know, flown over from London, and it was my first sort of like where you do the interviews, where you do the press kit. And I was put in front. I was so nervous. I was like, I'd never done any of this before. And the two main producers were there. They were watching me, and halfway through, as I've still got time to go, one of them comes up to me and just looks at me like, "You've never done this before, have you?" But like in a way where he was disapproving of the way I was dealing with it, and of course that didn't help. But it's all been wonderful since.
Tom?
I distinctly remember early on in my career doing a scene where I'd been running and I was out of breath at the end of the scene. It was like that. And then the director came up and went, "Cut. Okay, just don't open your mouth like that when you're out of breath. It's not a good look for you." That was the note. Let's go again. Okay. So breathless but mouth closed.
So you're basically like a bull.
Basically, yeah. And with these nostrils, not a good look again. So, essentially, stop breathing, we're all good.
I think the worst, every actor's nightmare is actually when you do a read-through. Read-throughs are terrible. You all sit there at a table, everyone sits very, very far into the table, and sometimes they film it and they send it back to whatever country they're in. And you know, you're reading it. I flew in, actually I went to do Merlin, and well, I almost got fired. So I get there and, you know, and there's suddenly like 40 people at this table. I didn't know anybody, so you know, you just gotta do your lines. So you do like your cool voice. You're trying to be all cool, going, yeah, no, I'll definitely help you. And I'll get on the horse and all this stuff. You know? And you're trying to just be cool. And then at the end, the two producers and director come up and they're like, so you're not gonna do that, right? Like, ever. Like, no, like, you're gonna be good, right? And like, yeah, sure. It's not fun. It's not fun. Right? Read-throughs should be cancelled.
Yeah.
Ever.
Stephen?
Actually, two very similar. And in fact, I had this kind of flashback as you were talking about that, Tom. I did this thing in the UK with a dear friend, actually, became a dear friend, the director, but I was playing a nasty character. It was a thing I did called Men Only, which was on Channel 4 in the UK.
Yeah, that's good.
And we were I was playing this character and I kept sort of doing this, oh, come on in, you know, we had this fight and stuff, and Pete kept coming up and going, why are you doing that? We gotta stop doing that. And I went, what? I'm not doing it. And it's one of those moments where what you think you are showing is not what everybody else is seeing. It's, yeah, awful. One of my favourite ones was actually a theatre job, which was, we got to the end of the play and we were all really, really happy. First half, we got to the end of the first half, and we were all really happy with what we'd done, and we were all sitting there going, that was great. It's a play called 'Tis a Pity She's a Whore, and the director said, well, the good news is, we got through the first half in 90 minutes. The bad news is it felt like fucking 4 hours. Still
All right, so I'm assuming, I want to cover some awkward things. I'm assuming as when you play heroes, you've had to do a lot of romantic scenes. So I was just assuming again that they wouldn't always go as smooth as you would hope. So I was just curious if you've had an awkward moment or two whenever you're kissing or doing the hibbity-dibbity. Any awkward moment that just stands out, God, I can't make it get out of my head.
Anyone want to try?
I was doing a scene where it's all meant to be rough and ready, and there's no time left, and you got like 5 minutes to get it. And you know, we're rolling around and you're half naked, it's all meant to be hot, and then she sort of kicked me in the groin. By mistake, I assume. I never asked. And then you have to keep doing the take, and it's like, oh. And you're still doing it and trying to pretend like you're in love, and it's all cute and sweet. You know that feeling when it goes right up your belly and
I remember that feeling actually, because that ties in with, so I did a show called The Fades in the UK. Thanks, Mum, again. And I had to do a sex scene with Natalie Dormer. Lucky me. Also, I thought. And the weirdness, when you do a sex scene, is weird, right? You've got loads of people standing around you, and it's just like a day job for people watching you pretend to have sex. And so we've got this guy, the director Tom, in the room next door. He's got a bit of a speech impediment, and he's going, "That's right, Tom. Grab her breasts. Just grab them. That's it. No, go the other way with them. That's it. Go the other way. That's it." Right? And I remember at the time thinking it was the first time in my career I'd ever put on what we call a cocksock, which is essentially like an old medieval money pouch with a torch in it. It's flesh coloured. And I thought, is that gonna keep the boys in the barracks? I'm not really sure. As a last minute panic, I got some some of that kind of tape, that wounds tape you put on, the strong stuff. And I taped it on, and I hadn't shaven down there either. So whilst Natalie's on top of me doing what she was,
Amazing, I'm happy with
so Natalie's on top of me, kind of writhing, and while she's doing that, everything's getting pulled. I'm sounding like I'm having a great time, but that's I'm having a terrible time. And then, at the end of the scene, the first lady goes, right, that's lunch, everybody. Everyone disappears. And I'm stuck in this pouch with this tape trying to, unpick it. Oh no. And then, thankfully, this really sweet costume girl came in and she went, do you want my little scissors? So I'm sitting. True story.
I've never had a kissing scene ever until until I was doing a show called Marco Polo. But the thing was, I was playing Kublai Khan, and then I was going through the scripts, and then there's a scene that says the Hall of Five Desires. And basically, the first scene was an orgy. And,
Go big, man.
And when it rains, it pours. And, there were 30 naked women. I was on a circular bed, not that dissimilar to my own in my own apartment. But so I was absolutely shitting myself. And obviously being very good. Yeah, it was being quite British about the thing, and it's like it's just sort of like it was a bit of a dance with an intensive game of Twister. So that was it. And
there you go.
One of the problems with any form of sort of these scenes with boys and girls is biology. And so, when you're a guy, sometimes it can be quite hard. Bad pun. Didn't mean that. It just came out. Bad pun. So one of the things that I sort of learned over the years is that one of the things I always say to actresses is, I'd just like to apologise in advance if anything happens downstairs during this coming together.
Stephen, there's a trick to that. You just tie this drawstring really tight so no blood can get down there.
That's good.
That's good. Yeah, us Canadians, we know our stuff. It's so polite. Yeah, we're so polite. We're like, how terrible we do. So you always say, I'm so sorry.
So you always say, I apologise if anything happens downstairs during the scene, but I also apologise if something doesn't happen. Which is a kind of nice way of saying, you're really hot, or I'm impotent.
Or the string's really tight.
Or the string's really tight.
That's a Canadian thing.
That's what we do up in Canada.
Is it called a tourniquet?
Yeah.
Santiago, did you have a moment you care to share?
Yeah, I've had quite a few moments. One of them particularly was I was doing a scene, and it was a sex scene. We were kind of rehearsing, and I was going at it, and just about as we're about to kind of shout action, the director it was quiet, everyone was being very respectful, and suddenly I hear this headphones come down from quite a distance. I hear this sort of running up. The director comes up to me and he goes, "Don't come until I tell you." So then of course we're acting. And as we're going, and suddenly I hear from a distance, I hear,
Shouldn't we all be in a circle?
Oh, did we do you? I mean,
You're very forward. You do it very hard.
There's a couple kids in the audience that are going to need a discussion with your parents after this panel. I think I'm looking at one right now. Sorry, darling.
all right, before we wrap up, we want to do something a little different this year. We want to do a little philanthropy. So, and we need your help. We're going to ask the guys to give us either their best celebrity impression or tell us their best joke. You know, like my go-to joke is, what kind of bee makes milk? Booby! Okay. Anyway.
That's really good.
Anyway.
Started with a very high bar.
I can't remember jokes over again. Anyway,
It's also the punchline for what are scary bees.
oh, nice.
Yeah,
that's good. That's good.
Very funny.
All right, anyway, so whoever you deem the winner, they will get $1,000 donated to the charity of their choice. So we need your help. So either a celebrity impression or your best party joke. Who's willing to go first?
So I don't know if you guys know, have ever heard of Paddy Englishman, Paddy Irishman, and Paddy Scotsman jokes? No? No? Okay, so these are jokes that everybody knows and tells each other all the time, right? So Paddy Englishman, Paddy Irishman, Paddy Scotsman haven't seen each other in a long time. And they go to hang out, so they go to a bar, obviously, and they meet up and they get drunk. And they're like, oh, we've all had a kid. And Paddy Englishman is like, you know, my kid was born on St. George's Day, so I called him George. And then Paddy Scotsman says, my kid was born on St. Andrew's Day, so I called him Andrew. And Paddy Irishman says, that's crazy, that's just like my son Pancake. True story.
All right, who's next?
I don't do impressions, but now as a father, as other fathers up here and you know, parents in the audience know, we do impressions out of necessity, right? So there's this little thing, and I feel like Carrot Top now, but I really do. My son's with me, so I have a nose Frida here, and the only way, this is what a nose Frida looks like, guys. And the only way he lets me suck snot out of his nose is if I'm Batman. And he doesn't want Adam West Batman. He's like, let me suck the snot out of your nose. He wants full-on Bale Batman, so this is how it goes. It goes. I free to you. Give me that snot. Where is it? Where is the snot? Where is it? Are you ready, honey? Are you ready? Okay. And then I go do something with the snot. It's great. It's a good time. It's a good time for all.
Nobody is going to beat that. I can't. Well, the one thing I will say is that the inside that little snot thing, there's an adapter that collects.
Oh yeah, you got to make sure.
And my wife lost it. And Anna would go down. I was about to say. If one of them's nose was, she would just literally put her mouth over the nose. Honestly, she's amazing. I don't do impressions. This is going to be a terrible impression, but I love this story, so I kind of have to do the impression. I did a film called Quills with Michael Caine
Please be Michael Caine.
And it's a terrible Michael Caine impression, I've got to tell you right now, but it's just a good story. He loves cricket, I love cricket. At lunchtime, he says to me, we're talking about the cricket, and he says, you know, come to the trailer. I've got that big satellite on top of my trailer. Come and watch the cricket. So I said, okay, I will. That's amazing. So I find myself sitting next to Michael Caine with my lunch on my lap and him with his lunch on his lap, and we're watching the cricket. And I can't believe I'm there, my dad's hero. And he says to me, so you've been having a good time then? And I said, yeah, no, going really well. You been working much? And I said, yeah, I've done a week on a little TV show called Casualty, and I've done a short film for a friend of mine, and now I'm working with you. You know, how about you? So I've just done a little film with Phil Noyce, and then I've been playing King Lear, and something else. And I said, well, the last thing I saw you in, and I can't look at him because I'm watching the cricket. So the last thing I saw you in was Little Voice. And you were amazing in Little Voice, and I thought you should have got the Oscar for that. And he went, yeah. I thought I was going to get a little statuette for that fucker. Great story.
All right, who's next?
I've got 3 mini impressions, I guess. Oh, just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. Okay, I'm going to build one. So, let me see. So, this is it. I'm building Sir Ian McKellen, and this is it. Only one shall have the ring. I love Star Trek Next Generation, so space. Oh, great. What does he say? I do love it. Oh, great. Tea, hot. That was a hit.
I auditioned for this movie about 9 years ago. Robert Zemeckis was doing a movie of the Beatles, and it was going to be motion capture. So you didn't have to look like the Beatles, but you just had to be able to do an impression of them. So I went in for John, and then they called me back for George, and then I went back for George again. So I ended up watching these clips from the 2 Beatles movies, Help and Hard Day's Night, for ages, just to imitate. So I ended up kind of getting their voices. So the conversation between the Beatles would go like, I mean, John's like a bit more nasal right there, and then George is a bit more laid back and cultural. So it'd be like, John would go, so you enjoying Comic-Con, Paul? Yeah, I love it, it's great, everyone's here like, you know, their own characters and stuff. What about you, George? I'd rather be at home, to be honest, playing my guitar. Here you are, Ringo, have this drumstick. Well, I don't really want to play with it though, do I? That's how you do it.
James, how you feeling?
Me?
Yeah.
I know there's kids in the audience, so I scrapped a joke I was going to tell. I'm gonna tell a very childish joke. I'm going to do it impersonating somebody. What do you call a cow with no legs? Ground beef. Wow. You see, my father told me that joke.
Tom, I think you're the last one.
Oh gosh, I never really did impressions. The only impression I ever did was a character called Zippy from a kids' TV show called Rainbow. So only one person's going to recognise that. So I won't do that, I will tell a joke. What do you do if a bird shits on your car? Well, just don't go out with her again.
Pediatric Brain Tumor Foundation. Yeah.
Great.
And if anybody wants me to free them, I'm available. Just let me know. The kids with snotty noses out there. I'm a hero.
All right, say thank you to our wonderful